Good morning, students. Today we shall begin with a new lesson. So, let's begin. Children, can you observe here on your screen? There is a fire, isn't it? Now the woods after burning turns into the ashes. So what is exactly happening here? The wood is converted into ashes. So there is a chemical change and a new substance is formed with the properties different from the origin. So here you can say that there is a chemical change happened. So we will start with a new lesson, that is chemical change and chemical bond part 1. Children, before that, please can you answer me some questions? What are the methods of classification of changes? Now, as said, there are two types. The classification of changes are physical changes and chemical changes. What is the difference between physical changes and chemical changes? Now let's see an example. Now here on your screen you can see a chocolate, and after melting it you can see the liquid form of the chocolate. So here there is a physical change, right? So here the chocolate after freezing it liquid chocolate after freezing gets converted back into the solid form. So here there is no change in the chemical properties, or in the a new substance is not formed. So this is called a physical change. Now here the next example you can see an egg. When you fry an egg, so what is happening here? The raw egg is getting converted into the fried one. So the properties are being changed. A new substance have been formed after frying the egg. So this is called as a chemical change. Are you getting the difference? Physical change is reversible process, whereas chemical change is irreversible process. And in chemical change, we get a new product or new substance which has the properties different from the original substance. A chemical change happens when one chemical substance is transformed into one or more different substances. It is known as chemical change. So if there is a chemical change, so a substance will transform into another. See this example where you can see an iron change, and after a chemical change you can see the iron change with a rusted form. This rust is due to corrosion of the iron. So here a new substance is formed after a chemical change. So this is an example of a chemical change. Now children, here let us study the chemical change with an activity. So what you have to do, take the lemon juice in a clean glass. Take 2 drops of lemon juice in a spoon and taste it. Add a pinch of baking soda in the glass of lemon juice. So what will happen? Did you notice some bubbling sound around the particles of soda? So what will happen? Many perceivable observations are noticed during the above activity. A gas is seen to be liberated in the form of bubbles. A low sound is heard. the white solid particles of baking soda disappear and the original sour taste becomes mild or diminished. Now from this it is understood that a new substance having a different taste is formed. So at the end of this activity or the above change, the taste of the substances was different, meaning its composition was different. Thus, during the above change, the composition of the original substance changed to form a new substance with different properties. So thus, the change takes place on adding baking soda to the lemon juice is a chemical change. Understood, children? Sometimes some characteristics observation are perceived during a chemical change, and these enable us to know that a chemical change has taken. Are you all understanding, children, what is a chemical change and how the chemical change takes place? And a chemical change is an irreversible process. And in chemical change, you get a new substances or a new product with different properties than the original. See, in this you can see the effervescence also. Let's see some other observations or some other examples. Here you can see a banana, a raw banana, which is ripening slowly. Okay, so there is a chemical change happening here. So from raw mango, it is changing to a ripened. Raw banana is getting ripened. Okay, and the second example is bread. You can see if the bread is kept for a long time, it start decomposing and there is a change in the color. Even a cut potato, if you cut the potato, okay, and keep it for a time, you can see the color change in that potato. So that is the chemical change happening. The next example you can see here is the rusted iron chain. This also is an example of a chemical change. Due to corrosion, the rust is being formed on this iron chain. Now chemical change and chemical word. We will study this chemical change and chemical word. During a chemical change, the chemical composition of the original matter changes and a new substance are formed. Isn't it? So a chemical equation can be written for a chemical change if the exact change in the composition is known. Now here, names and chemical formulae of the original substance and newly formed substances are used while writing a chemical equation. We will study this with the help of an example. Here, when baking soda is added to lemon juice, a chemical change takes place in the citric acid present in the lemon juice and the gas is formed, that is carbon dioxide. So word equation can be written for this chemical reaction as citric acid, that is acid, plus sodium bicarbonate, which is alkali. When there is a reaction, it's converted or it liberates carbon dioxide, CO2, plus sodium citrate, that is a salt. So acid plus alkali gives us carbon dioxide, CO2, plus salt. Okay, and this process or this reaction is called as neutralization reaction. Are you getting me, children? Very good. Now children, always remember the first step of writing a chemical equation is to write the word equation by using the names of the concerned substances. Here, oxygen plus glucose gives carbon dioxide plus water plus ATP. So when the chemical formula is written in place of each of the name, it becomes a chemical equation. Understood? So first we need to write the equation in words, then we can replace them with the formula. So while writing a chemical equation, original substances are written on the left side and newly formed substances are written on the right side, and an arrow is drawn in between. Arrowhead points towards a substance formed and arrow indicates the direction of the reaction. Okay, so here glucose, that is C6H12O6 plus O2 gives us CO2 plus H2O plus ATP. So children, this we have replaced the words into their chemical formula. Okay, so this is a chemical reaction. So substances, when written on the left side of the arrow, are the original substances that take part in the reaction. They are called as reactants. Okay, on the left hand side. While the new substance formed as a result of the reactions are called products. Place of the products of the reaction is on the right hand side of the arrow. So on the left hand side reactants, and on the right hand side of the arrow we get the products. Now, chemical changes in everyday life. We find many examples of chemical changes in our surrounding, in our body, home and laboratory. So, let's see some chemical changes for which word and chemical equation can be written. The first is natural chemical changes and the second one is man-made chemical changes. We will study one by one in detail. The first one, respiration. Respiration is a continuously occurring biological process. In this process, we inhale the air and exhale carbon dioxide and water vapor. After an in-depth study, it is learned that glucose in the cell reacts with the oxygen in the inhaled air to form carbon dioxide and water. So the word equation can be written as glucose plus oxygen gives us carbon dioxide, water plus ATP, and the chemical equation for the same is written as the following: C6H12O6, that is glucose, plus O2, oxygen, gives us CO2, carbon dioxide, plus H2O, water, plus ATP, that is energy. Now let's take an example. Lime water turns milky. So here what we'll do is take some freshly prepared lime water. Lime water means solution of calcium hydroxide in a test tube, as you can see on the screen above. So keep on blowing in it with a blow tube. So what is seen after some time, children? Did the color of the lime water turns milky? Yes. After some time, you will find out that a white insoluble solid settles at the bottom of the test tube. This is the precipitate of the calcium carbonate. And the word equation would be carbon dioxide plus calcium hydroxide, that is lime water, gives us calcium carbonate plus water. So the turning of milky lime water, that is the blown gas, mix it in it and carbon dioxide is formed. So let's see the chemical equation for this. The chemical equation is CO2 plus CaOH twice gives us CaCO3 plus H2O, that is liquid form. CaCO3 is in, that is salt, and this turns the lime water into milky. So this understood, children? Let's see the next one, photosynthesis. You know that green plants perform photosynthesis in sunlight, right? So a word equation and a chemical equation that is unbalanced can be written in this natural chemical change. That is carbon dioxide plus water in the presence of sunlight and chlorophyll will give us glucose plus oxygen. And the chemical equation would be CO2 plus H2O in the presence of sunlight and chlorophyll gives us C6H12O6 plus plus O2. Now we will move ahead to man-made chemical changes. We bring about many chemical changes for our use in everyday life. Wood, coal, petrol or cooking gas are burned for getting energy. The common substance that burns in all this fuel is carbon. During the combustion process, carbon combines with oxygen in air and the product carbon dioxide is formed. So a common equation can be written for all these combustion process. That is, carbon plus oxygen gives us carbon dioxide, and the chemical equation is C plus O2 gives us CO2. Combustion of fuel is a fast and irreversible change. Second, cleaning Shahabad tile with dilute HCl. So the word equation for this is calcium. What happens here? See, children, the chemical composition of Shahabad tile is mainly calcium carbonate. During its cleaning with hydrochloric acid, the upper layer of the tile reacts with hydrochloric acid and the three products are formed. Look here, calcium carbonate plus hydrochloric acid. On reaction it gives us calcium chloride plus carbon dioxide plus water. And the chemical equation would be CaCO3 plus HCl gives CaCl2 plus CO2 plus H2O. Understood, children? How this cleaning of Shahabad tile with dilute acid reacts? Okay. Third is softening of hard water. Now some wells or tube wells have hard water. It is brackish to taste. Brackish means it is more salty and does not form lather with the soap. This is because of hard water contains the chloride and sulfate salts of calcium and magnesium in dissolved state. To soften the hard water, a solution of washing soda is added to it. This results in a chemical reaction to form a precipitate of insoluble carbonate salts of calcium and magnesium. So, calcium chloride plus sodium carbonate gives us calcium carbonate plus sodium chloride, and the chemical equation is CaCl2 plus Na2CO3 gives us CaCO3 plus NaCl. So, children, with this we have finished with today's topic. I hope you must all understood the topic which we have learned today, the chemical change and chemical bond. Okay, children, after watching this video, kindly read the lesson, okay, to make it more easy for you all. Till then, thank you, children.